All right, welcome to the SAINTCON hallway. I have with me Nathan, or your handle is Brutus?
Brutus.
Brutus.
Yeah.
I don't even, see, good thing I asked. How did you get that handle?
It's a combination of my middle name and last name.
Oh,
So,
all right.
yep.
I actually had no idea.
Yep, that's where it came from.
Was it given or was it picked?
I don't know. I think like most of anybody in the security industry, we've had 8 different handles. So I think it's gone through different iterations and different groups, and I don't know. You move on, and I think that one was probably while brainstorming with some other people, and they're like, this, and this, and do that. Anyway.
Awesome. The first time you were able to pick an email address, what was the first email address you ever picked? Was it like Juno or NetZero or?
That's a good question. I think it was probably Hotmail, or maybe it was like it may have been like an old Juno account, but I think it was Zarufa, Z-A-R-U-F-A. That one's been dead a long time.
What does that stand for?
That was another old, it didn't stand for anything. That was,
sounded cool.
14-year-old Nathan thinking it was pretty sweet.
Pretty. All right, Zarufa, I like it. Should we just start calling you that?
No, that's a terrible idea. Can we edit that? No, I'm just
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll do it in post.
Yeah.
How many SAINTCONs have you gone to?
I don't know. Like maybe 7, 8, 9, something like that.
So you're going on Sainthood and SAINTCON.
Is that 10?
I don't know, actually.
Oh.
I'm just trying to define it. I don't know.
Yeah, so there was a few years I was pretty good at getting corporate sponsorship, so we did that over and over and over, and that's kind of died off for those few years. I need to try and get that back.
We always take free money.
Free money is good.
Yeah.
It's good for. It's not even free money. It's just based off of everything else that has to go into this.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally needed. So I'm guessing 7 or 8, something like that.
Awesome. What was your favorite memory from a SAINTCON? And it could, just so you know, it could be talking to me right now, right here.
This is pretty great. It's up there. It's high on the list of
Just
of
plant
memories. I needed to get these questions before so I could come up with answers. Let me.
Or a good memory that you can think of.
I gave a talk with Bryce a couple of years ago. That was fun.
Bryce Coons?
Yeah, Bryce Coons on. It was like a dark tools framework that we released. That was fun to actually just give it here. Like we'd given it a few other places, but it's fun just because it's home.
Right. That's cool. If you were to not be an infosec anymore, whether that's just you're financially, you don't need to, maybe it's kids growing up or whatever it is, what do you do?
What do I do? Right now, it feels like I work on my house. That's what happens. But if I wasn't working on my house and I wasn't working for...
Let's just say money is not a problem. So you can pay people to deal with your house. A magician.
Definitely magician.
For real?
Well, I mean,
I've never got that. I got cabin in the woods. I got beaches. I get a lot of answers. I've never got magician.
No, like
a magician?
As a kid, that's what I wanted to be up until I realized, like, I don't think very many magicians make money, right? So,
but still, like, you'd go to parties, shows. Are you
that
like
would be sweet?
Vegas? Like, what are we thinking?
It would totally be Vegas. Are you kidding?
So, like, up on the stage, raising your heels.
Yep. Raising other people, all the things. Yep.
Cutting people in half.
Work on it.
Wow. Dude, that's a legit answer. I have not heard that answer. What's, when you looked at SAINTCON 2022, what was the one thing you're like, I want to make sure I do that? See a talk, go do a village, meet with people. What was the one thing?
I mean, meeting with people is by far my favorite thing because this is the one time a year. Like we all have DEF CON, but everybody's too busy at DEF CON to actually find time and to actually hang out. There were a few talks I really, like Waylon's talk, I wanted to attend just because Waylon does awesome talks.
Professor Plum?
Yeah, Professor Plum. Kevin Lustig was giving one until I realized it was at 8 a.m. So whoever scheduled that one for Lustig.
It's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I'm staying out of it.
It's definitely a Troy thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Chris. Blame Chris.
Oh, yeah, that's way too early. 8 a.m. talks. So I don't know. Dark Matters was good today. I don't know if you sat through that. He did a really good job. And obviously, I like Deviant's talk a lot. I think he did great. So the fact that him and Snow were talking this morning, I was excited about.
Awesome. Perfect. What's the favorite place? I know we've chatted some previous conversations, so I want to ask you this. What's the favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Favorite place I've ever traveled to? I like Ireland a lot.
I thought you were going to throw down like Romania on me or something.
No, I mean, have you been to Romania? No. Just kidding, Romania counterparts. No, no, I like Bucharest. Bucharest is great. and kind of the cities around there.
Ireland.
Galway. It's
Was
on the west coast.
Summer, winter, what time of year? Because that does matter when you go to Northern Europe.
It was summer.
Okay.
So yeah, the west coast, Galway specifically, is probably my if I disappear and have to hide from the world, that's where I'm going. So that's where you guys can all find me.
Ireland doing magic tricks.
That'll work.
Got it.
I'll do it.
What was your first paying job you ever had?
I worked on. I cleaned trains. So
trains?
Yeah. So it was. I don't know, probably 13 or 14.
Is this a magician's train?
No.
I'm trying to see how this pieces together.
So this was a like a historic train that they would use for tours, where they would bring people through. So I would clean the train after people had come through, and then one summer I had to wax an entire train by myself, some historic train that had all of the passenger carts and stuff like that. It was terrible.
On the inside or the outside?
So I waxed the outside, but clean the inside.
But the outside's huge.
Yeah. That's why I took a summer.
It's not like an A-frame. That's
No. It was not a fun job. It wasn't good at all. So
that was, you did a train or a car?
No, a train, multiple carts.
How big was this train? Was this one of the account with the kids and 100 carts going by?
No, it was 6 or something like that.
Still though, they're deceivingly big when you get next to them.
Yep.
When you see them on the road, you're like, yeah, train. When you're next, you're like, that's a train.
Yeah, it was a long summer, but it took a while. So it was, I was doing other stuff at the same time. When they would do the tours, we would be working the booths on the inside and selling snacks and stuff like that.
So you are a Karate Kid now.
From waxing an entire train, the wax on, wax off it didn't do for him for me what it did for him. But yeah, I definitely got through it.
IoT devices at your house. Do you segment them on your network?
Yes.
And do you do that through what? Firewall, VLAN?
VLAN specifically
SSIDs?
with rules in between those. It adds confusion, it adds issues because some things need to be communicated to directly. Yeah.
Right.
So you have Apple TVs or whatever, you still want direct access to. You can't have them on a VLAN that's only with IoT access. So it's for things that make sense.
Yeah, a sketchy sprinkler controller.
Yeah, the ratios, whatever. Those you don't need to talk to directly.
Right.
So once you set it up, they can talk directly out. You can jump onto that VLAN if you need to for some resetting things up. But it's only for very specific devices that you need to talk to. Are there exceptions for? But
you are the exception already.
For what?
A lot of security people, we preach this, and I ask that question, and a lot of people are like, nah, they're all together.
Really?
Because it's hard.
No, it's really hard.
It's hard. They have a Google Wi-Fi, and maybe they have one guest network, and the rest. And so what do?
Yeah.
So I mean, unless you actually start building out an enterprise system, it gets complicated.
Mine's all Ubiquity stuff.
Okay.
So VLANs through Ubiquity at the UDM Pro, and it supports the different. I have different wireless networks for the IoT devices and everything.
Awesome. Are you your favorite IDE to use? Would that be Notepad or MS Word?
Notepad or MS Word, they're both good. I mean, VI,
No, sorry, that's not an option. I can't let you have VI.
VI is the only option.
The only option, not Emacs?
No.
No, there's very few Emacs people, but the ones who are diehard Emacs people.
I feel like Emacs is when they want to use VI, but they can't figure out how to exit it, and then they just move on to, that's when they decide they use Emacs.
But Emacs is hard and complicated too. It's I want to go down, I got to hit glung, 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 glung. That's not Nano's the easy go-to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, I haven't used Emacs for a long time. I'm sure I've used it here and there, but not a lot.
All right, last question, eating a bunch of time. What is your InfoSec origin story? You're living life, you're waxing trains, you're doing whatever you're doing, and something got you to start being interested or working on information security. What was that origin story?
Sure. So a lot of people know Jimmy Longs or Lonnie. So he's my older brother. And he brought home a 2600 one day when I was probably 12 or 13 or something like that. And he made an absolute rule that I couldn't look at it or read it. So yeah,
Don't
I
look
know.
at it.
Yeah, I think he bought that and some.
Was
like
he a lot
Hacking
meaner? He's like the
Exposed.
nicest guy in the entire world. Did he beat you up?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
All right,
But
brothers.
anyway,
Typical brothers. Got it.
so it was like hidden in his room. So at the second he said I couldn't, that means like
Game on, yeah.
yeah, I was a little brother. So I had to steal it and read through every single parts of it. So I think that's when it started. Is him buying that and then continuing to buy like 2600 as we grew up, and then I think we tried to go to like the second or third DEF CON when I think I was 15 and he was like 17 or something like that. And we had approval from our parents. We thought everything was going on, and it's only because they hadn't read on any of it and realized they had no idea what it was.
Right. You're like, sure. You
Yeah.
want to go to a work conference?
Yeah. So this was like 94, 95 or
Wow,
something
dude.
like that. So we didn't actually, they didn't let us go. We didn't get over to DEF CON.
How'd
for
they
another
find out?
few
What
years.
shut it down? Did they Google it?
Well,
There's no Google.
I think it's when we were like telling them, because we were in Southern California, and we were like, well, we have to go to Vegas. So we're like, oh, he's 8. Yeah, he's old enough. Like we can drive to Vegas. This should be okay. And then once they started looking into it, what we were actually doing, they shut it down.
They're like a hotel that you take over and it gets sketchy yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it started back then, and then we started building out networks just as kids and building all of our computers. The computer fairs in California, in Southern California, where you'd go to huge just warehouses like this that were filled with tables of gear. So you just build all your, like buy all of your parts, buy all of your specific gear, build everything. And we didn't buy it through the internet or anything like that.
Right.
So, and then it just went on from there to being, when it's like that one thing that you're good at, everything else is kind of a pain. It's a little bit harder, but like with security, everything just continued to click, continued to make sense, and there was continued interest through multiple jobs as it progressed. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for chatting with me in the SAINTCON hallway,
definitely,
and enjoy the rest of your show.
Okay, thanks, man.